Yo, YouTube squad, what is crack-a-lackin' smackin'? It's your boy Electric Plays, and today I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts, my initial reactions, and I'm just gonna ramble about Kobe's passing. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. But before we start today's video, if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And let's get straight into today's video. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys seriously in this one. Now, obviously, it's been 1 year since Kobe Bryant unfortunately passed away in a helicopter crash. You know, it was including Kobe, his daughter, and also all the other victims that were a part of this unfortunate tragedy that happened just a year ago. Now, I wanted to make a video on this. Obviously, Kobe Bryant is one of my favorite NBA players of all time. You know, obviously, LeBron James is my favorite basketball player of all time, as I grew up with him watching basketball, but Kobe Bryant was definitely up there for me. Now, as you can see in today's gameplay, I decided I wanted to do the 0-1 Lakers versus the 2020-2021 Los Angeles Lakers. Let me know who you guys think would win between these two teams. Do you guys think that today's Lakers or the past Lakers would win this match? Now, obviously, I don't have the rights to show you guys some highlights of Kobe Bryant. I'm pretty sure you have to get rights for it, and unfortunately I don't, so I wanted to just use NBA 2K for today's video. So yeah, unfortunately, man, you know, Kobe Bryant passed away. You know, he was one of my favorite players of all time. You know, it's unfortunate, man. Like, I would always say that sometimes I would try to defend LeBron James, saying that he's better than Kobe, but come on, man, we already know that Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest to ever play this game, man, for sure. My favorite Kobe game, oh man. So I never got to grow up watching Kobe Bryant, unfortunately. Like, he was big, he was huge in the 90s. I wasn't even born yet. I was born in the 2000s, like early 2000s. So I never really got into NBA or basketball up until, like, I would say 2010. I knew about basketball, you know, back then. I wasn't a big fan of it. Now, obviously, I love this sport. It's my favorite sport out of all of them I could choose. You know, there's the NFL, there's MLB, but NBA is my favorite sport, man. Like, I just love the game of basketball. And now, I mentioned this, but my first favorite player was LeBron James. I obviously also knew about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo was huge, especially in New York City, man. He was the biggest New York City star for a while for the Knicks, man. Like, Carmelo was huge. Like, I had a Carmelo Anthony jersey. I still have one. Like, that guy was huge in New York City. And unfortunately, he had to leave. But, you know, I still have jerseys of Carmelo. I still have LeBron jerseys. You know, those are the ones that I have. Now, I caught on late about Kobe. I didn't really know too much about him until I learned more about the game of basketball. I started watching his old games, his old highlights. I even got NBA 2K17. Which, if you guys don't remember, NBA 2K17 had the Legend edition for Kobe Bryant, and they had him in the storyline. That was beautiful. That was an amazing job that 2K did right there, man. Including Kobe in the storyline in the beginning, that was amazing. And 2K17 is hands down, might not be the greatest 2K, but is probably up there as one of the greatest 2Ks. Now, speaking of 2K, my favorite NBA 2K of all time might be 16. It's either 16, maybe even 14. I didn't have the older ones. I think I had 2K12 on the PSP, But man, like the PSP is like the old age Nintendo Switch, so I didn't really play too much NBA 2K12, but I think I had the game. But my favorite 2K probably would have to be, in order, probably I would say 16, and then maybe 14, because I played 14 a lot. 17, 19. I did not like 18. We don't even mention 18. I didn't like 20 either. This year's 2K isn't that bad at all, to be honest. There's some things that they could fix, but it's certainly not a bad 2K. But yeah, man, those are probably my favorites in order. Now let's backtrack real quick. So 2K17, man, they included Kobe Bryant in the storyline, and that was such a great thing that they did. Just watching interviews of Kobe, he's such a level-headed guy. He's such a nice person. I never got to meet him. Unfortunately, I never got to meet LeBron either. I'm hoping to meet LeBron James soon. That's like one of my lifetime goals. Obviously, to meet your favorite athletes before it's too late. Like, I never got to meet both LeBron or Kobe yet, so I don't think I won't ever be able to meet Kobe again, unfortunately. And it sucks, man, that not only did Kobe pass away last year, but also his daughter, Gianna Bryant. She was just about to make it to the WNBA. We all know she was going to be in the WNBA. But not only that, she would have made that league huge, man. Like, the WNBA, she would have made it like so much more entertaining to watch, because there is people that watch the WNBA, and I have nothing wrong against it. It's a pretty cool league. Players like Candace Parker, and I don't really know too many players in the WNBA. I don't know their names, but I know that Gianna would have definitely made that league very entertaining to watch, and she probably would have made it bigger, more bigger, and probably would have gotten a lot more people to watch the WNBA for sure. So yeah, man, that just sucks. And she said she was gonna go to UConn. UConn paid tribute to her passing. I remember watching that. It was just so sad to see. She would have definitely been a great Husky for the UConn, man. She would have been amazing for that team. Alright, so I want to talk to you guys about my initial reactions, man. So 2020 wasn't the best year for all of us, including myself. I've had to battle many things that year. Some that are very personal to me, like how school was canceled from the virus. I wasn't able to formally graduate because I did just finish high school. I'm not gonna say where, but I just graduated like last year, and I wasn't able to get a proper graduation, unfortunately. I am a part of the class of 2020, and we weren't able to get a formal graduation, so yeah, that sucked. And then not only that, starting off the year, we lost Kobe Bryant. We lost many rappers, I think, like including 2020 and 2019. Like, you guys know, like, we lost Juice WRLD, Pop Smoke, just a bunch of other rappers that we lost from 2019 and 2020. It's just so unfortunate. We lost so many good people the last like 2 years, man. It just sucks. It just sucks so much. And then to top it off, we lost Kobe Bryant. Now, my initial reaction to Kobe was, I thought it was fake news. I really thought he didn't pass away. Like, I was like, there's no way. This is not real. There's no way this is real. This is fake. But the more news reports that came out, the more I saw it, and then it was just confirmed that we lost Kobe Bryant. I was very emotional that day. It sucked. I didn't really want to talk to anyone that I knew. I was just very sad because I was never going to be able to to meet Kobe Bryant ever in my life. And that was very hard to take in, man. Like, there's things that I follow from Kobe Bryant, including his Mamba mentality. Now, if you don't understand the Mamba mentality, Kobe had this mental toughness that would contribute to a lot of his championships that he had for the Lakers. He was the hardest worker in the gym. He would never give up. And he'd work so hard to do whatever it took to just win the championship. He has this mentality to never give up. And that's something that none of you should ever do, man. You should never give up in life. You should always just move forward and continue being strong. And that is something that I definitely learned from this guy. We just miss him so much, man. I just miss him so much. Like, it hasn't been the same without him. And I just wish I was able to meet him before all of this happened. We miss you, Kobe. We miss you, man. Now, I want to talk about some things, man. So after Kobe passed away, a lot of things happened in the world. You know, the virus started to get bigger and bigger. The NBA world, like every single team in the NBA, showed respect for Kobe Bryant. They gave him tributes, and that was very nice for them to do, man. That was so sweet, and I was just in tears, man. I was very happy though to see every team in the NBA show respect for Kobe Bryant. Like, the league just isn't the same without the dude, man. Like, I would say, a lot of people say LeBron James is the GOAT and all that. But at the end of the day, Kobe Bryant is the closest thing to Michael Jordan. Hands down. He was a different breed, a different beast. Like, I'm a LeBron James fan, but I would have LeBron probably in the top 5. I wouldn't have him as the greatest player of all time yet. If LeBron wins 7 rings, then maybe it's up for discussion, because that's what most people talk about for GOAT debates is championship rings, not really how good the player was. Like, some people have that mentality. People say that Bill Russell's the GOAT because he has 11 rings. Like, that's what some people have for their GOAT. But to me, man, like, Kobe was the closest thing to Michael Jordan. And then LeBron is the GOAT of this generation. Hands down. The 2000s is LeBron's era, man. Hands down. No other player can compete with that. Now, people gave tributes to Kobe Bryant. When I saw Los Angeles do their tribute, that was the most emotional thing I've ever seen in my life. There was so many people crowding Staples Center that day, just handing out flowers for Kobe, you know, saying their prayers, saying their tributes. There was so many people at Staples Center, and Los Angeles wasn't the same for a while when they lost Kobe, man. It was a dark place to be in. It was terrible. Everyone was depressed. You know, Kobe is like almost the heart and soul of Los Angeles, man. In my opinion, he's probably the greatest Laker of all time. He spent his entire career there. Like 19, 20 seasons with the Lakers. And he won 5 championships. Like, that is loyalty right there. A lot of players just jump ships and switch to team, but Kobe, he wasn't one of them. He stayed with the Lakers his entire career. So yeah, 2020 wasn't the best year, but it kind of had a good ending in a way. So obviously for a while we weren't even sure if we were going to get NBA basketball back. You guys remember when Rudy Gobert, he got the virus, and a lot of people were mad at him. I was kind of mad at him because he did it in a disrespectful way. Like, he didn't treat the coronavirus seriously. And I bet he's probably has learned from his mistake. I bet a lot of people have learned from their mistakes. So I understand it was a one-time thing, and it was a mistake he probably regrets. But for a while, we thought we weren't going to get NBA basketball back. And then the bubble happened. And I just want to say that the bubble was actually very entertaining to watch. Even though there wasn't fans in the arena and stuff like that, it was very cool to see the virtual fans, and it almost felt like they were there in a way. You know what I mean? And I want to say that the 2020 playoffs, it was kind of entertaining. It's not the most entertaining playoffs we ever had, but it was definitely entertaining for sure, considering the year that we were given and the fact that we couldn't even go outdoors. So yeah, it was pretty entertaining to say the least. And to end it off, man, what a great way to end off 2020 with the Lakers championship. Honestly, man, I was so happy. I was so glad, proud, and happy that LeBron did it. He did it. He won a championship for Kobe Bryant, man. Like, that is emotional. That's just, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to even think about that. Like, he won the championship for Kobe. He did it. He delivers on his promises. Even though LeBron has lost multiple finals, multiple championships, he delivers on his promises, man. He promised the Cavaliers he would win them a championship. And look, he did it. He did it, man. He won the Cavaliers an NBA championship. He promised the Miami Heat that they would win multiple championships, and they did that. They won twice in a row. That was insane. I remember the Miami Heat days, man. That was a time to be in, for sure. That was crazy. And then obviously, last year he promised the Lakers he would win them a championship, especially for Kobe Bryant. And he did it, man. He won Kobe Bryant that championship. He did it for Los Angeles. And he made the city just a good place to be in once again after that championship. It wasn't the same because the fans weren't there. It wasn't the same environment that the players were in. But there was no home field advantage in the bubble. Every team had the same opportunity to win that championship. It wasn't favored over the Lakers. I see a lot of people discredit this Lakers championship. And I'll be honest, there was teams that the Lakers played that were kind of easy, but kind of not. So, you know, obviously, I believe, didn't they play Portland the first round or something like that? Portland actually did pretty good, man. Like, I'll tell you, they competed as hard as they could. I'll tell you what, if Damian Lillard had dropped like more than 50 points per game, they probably could have beaten the Lakers in that series. So Portland gave it their all. Denver was hard. I was so worried for the Denver series, man. Jokic and Jamal Murray, they were insane that series. Jamal Murray just showed people that he's one of, maybe not the best point guard in the league, but he's certainly up there as a top 15, maybe even top 10 point guard in the league right now. So yeah, that Denver series is nuts. And then the Clippers. Who can remember when everybody was saying the beginning of, I believe, 2020, everyone was saying that the Clippers could beat the Lakers in the playoffs, bro. Yo, I could not believe people were saying that. They had so much hope, so much promise for the Clippers, man. But here's the thing. I know LeBron, right? A lot of people know LeBron. He knows when to switch when it comes to the playoffs, man. LeBron goes from regular season LeBron, who can casually just play around, get the job done, to playoff LeBron, who drops 40, maybe not 40, but he gets the job done. He makes sure that he makes it to the finals. That's the most important thing for LeBron in his career, and he knows it, is to make it to the championship. And that's when he switches from regular season LeBron to playoff LeBron. And it's a scary thing, for sure. It's scary. And then the finals, the Miami Heat, the Lakers. That was a very entertaining finals to see. Jimmy Butler gave it his all. I was very shocked at how Jimmy Butler played in that finals. We've never even seen Jimmy Butler, I don't think, in the finals before. So the fact that he gave it his all to win that championship, man, it was great. So realistically, people shouldn't really discredit LeBron James's championship from 2020. Like, the Miami Heat was a very hard team. The Nuggets were a pretty good team as well. Like, the Nuggets could have beaten the Lakers. And then to top it all off, the Portland Trailblazers, if Damian Lillard had scored more points, they probably could have beaten the Lakers as well. So they kind of had some moments where they could have lost the playoffs, man. Like, it was sort of an easy trip. It wasn't the hardest trip, but it was kind of hard. So it was like right across the middle there. It wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't the hardest. You know what I mean? So yeah, people shouldn't discredit that championship for sure. Yeah, hands down, man. That 2020 championship was amazing. Oh, anyway, this is about Kobe Bryant. Now, I'm just trying to remember some of the games of Kobe. I didn't watch him that much, but there is certainly some things I remember. Who could remember Kobe Bryant's last game when he dropped 60 points? That was amazing, man. And I was just smiling throughout that entire game because I was so happy for Kobe. He had one of the best careers I've ever seen, and everyone in the NBA loves him, man. Like, that 60-point game was something else when he finished off his career. I know he took a lot of shots, but who cares, man? It was Kobe freaking Bryant at age, I think, 40 or something like that, dropping 60 points in his final game. That was nuts. Obviously, the famous 81 points. That was crazy. One of the highest points put up by a player in history. No other player will ever drop 81. Booker was close. He had 72. But nobody will come close to that Kobe one, man. Only Wilt Chamberlain was able to beat that career high. That was insane. Just trying to remember some of the other games Kobe had. Obviously, the finals. I believe... I'm not sure if I saw the one where he played against the Celtics, but... that was amazing. Who could remember the prime Celtics team against the prime Lakers team? Those were the days, man. I miss the old NBA. I think all of you can agree. That was just insane. What I really wanted to see was a LeBron and Kobe matchup, man. I think all of us wanted to see that. Can you imagine LeBron James and Kobe Bryant in the finals going at it against each other? That would have been insane. And whoever won that finals probably would have been the better player. Obviously, LeBron and Kobe weren't able to make it to the finals together, but they were able to do other stuff. The All-Star game, Team USA. Oh man, I miss the old Team USA. The Dream Team. I think the Dream Team was the 90s, but also the 2012 Dream Team was very nice as well. I think they had Kevin Durant, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, Kobe. There was a lot of Hall of Famers on the 2012 USA team. That was insane. The three-point contest, the dunk contest, it hasn't really been the same anymore. It isn't. Like, I wish more Hall of Famers would have entered in those contests. The dunk contest, man, hands down. It would have been amazing to watch LeBron James battle against Kobe in the dunk contest. that would have been nuts. That would have been one of the best dunk contests in history. Like LeBron, as much as he's my favorite player, I wish he was in the dunk contest early in his career. Like, it would have been amazing. But unfortunately, he just never was. And not a lot of NBA players like the dunk contest anymore. It's kind of rigged. Who could remember 2016 when Aaron Gordon was battling Zach LaVine in the dunk contest? That was like one of the most rigged dunk contests we've ever seen. In my opinion, Aaron Gordon should have won that dunk contest easily, without a doubt. He should have won that. But yeah, the All-Star weekend, it just hasn't been the same anymore. We all miss the old All-Star weekend, and it's like one of my favorite parts for the NBA, man. Now, finally, to end this video off, I just want to say I am very sorry for all the Kobe fans out there, man. I know how hard it must have been for you to lose your favorite idol of all time. Like, sometimes I get scared, you know what I mean? Like, what if let's say one day LeBron James just disappears? Like, he's my favorite player of all time, but what if he just disappeared? My life wouldn't be the same, you know what I mean? So you have to appreciate legends when they're still there. You have to appreciate them. Without them, the NBA wouldn't have been the same. That's for sure. Now, I am going to make a mixtape soon. I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. So, I'm going to give some tributes to Kobe Bryant. Not in this video, but I'm gonna see if I can include maybe some interviews or something like that in my upcoming 2K21 mixtape. Now, check out my channel. I have made mixtapes almost every year for 2K. You know what I mean? So definitely check those out. But I am for sure going to make a mixtape, and it's going to be a tribute for Kobe Bryant and Juice WRLD, because those are my two favorite artists, or also athletes, because Kobe is in my top 5. One of my favorite players of all time, man. Like, the league hasn't been the same ever since he's left. Just hasn't been the same at all. So yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but I'm definitely gonna make that video. I hope you guys enjoy that. It's gonna be a very nice, touching tribute to Kobe. I wish he was still here. Now, anyway, man, let's just check out this game real quick. There's 5 minutes left. It's a 13-point game. Let me know who you guys think would win between the two teams. Let me know what your favorite all-time NBA team is. So my favorite team of all time, I'm trying to think. Obviously the 01 Lakers, or a different breed. Man, the 2015-2016 Warriors were very nice with their shooting duo. That's Curry in his prime. Like, Curry, he is actually not that bad this season, but I think his prime years was in 2015. I'm trying to think where else. Obviously the Raptors. Shout out to Vince Carter. He's one of my favorite players of all time as well. And yeah, man, just who do you guys think would win between these two teams? What is your favorite of all time team? What is your favorite athlete in general? I can't believe it's already been a year. It's already been a year since we lost Kobe Bryant, Gianna Bryant, and all the other passengers involved with the tragedy. Rest in peace to all of them. You will all be missed dearly. Yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been your boy. Take care. Now, I won't lie, it seems like I've been rambling a little bit. Obviously, I didn't write a script. I'm just speaking from the heart, if you know what I mean. This video is like 30 plus minutes, so I'm just trying to think of things to talk about. Now, what I am going to talk about now is obviously the memorial. Now, I'm sure all of you guys watched the memorial. It was very hard to watch, man. Everybody was emotional that day. And just trying to think of things to talk about when it came to Kobe. There was a lot of things to talk about. The funniest thing was Shaq's speech when he mentioned like Kobe like cursed at him or something, but in a funny way. I forgot what he said, but it was hilarious. Check out Shaq's speech at the memorial. Like, he just lifted everyone's spirit that day. I'm sure it was so hard for Shaq to just take in what happened. Obviously, Kobe said that if Shaq had worked harder, they could have won more than 4 or 5 championships, and that's very true. I think honestly, that Lakers team could have won 7 to 8 rings if Shaq had just worked harder on his game. If he worked just as hard as Kobe in the gym, they'd have way more championships than they have right now. But I'm sure they're both satisfied with how things turned out. You know, Shaq got 4 championships, Kobe got 5. Like, everything was just blessed at the end of the day. But yeah, that was definitely funny to see, and I felt so sorry for Shaq. They were teammates almost their entire career, and you know, Kobe was like probably maybe a little brother to him or something like that. Like, they were brothers, man. Brothers for life. So I felt sorry for Shaq because that was one of his best friends that he knew almost his entire career. And MJ, man, Michael Jordan, the GOAT. Every time Michael Jordan talks, man, people listen. That's just it. And some people were probably shocked to hear this, but you know, Michael Jordan and Kobe, they're great friends. For sure, they are great friends. And a lot of people try to stir up this Kobe and MJ rivalry. People were like, no, Michael's better. No, Kobe's better. But at the end of the day, people should just respect the greatness where it is. And should just respect both their talents, man. And someone brought up a great point. When it comes to greatness, you should value it by time periods, timelines. You know, MJ had his time from the 80s to the 90s. Kobe had his time from the 90s to the early 2000s, and LeBron had his time from 2010 to the late 2000s. Like, from 2010 and beyond, those are LeBron's years. Even if he didn't win the championship every year, he was still making the championship almost every year. Obviously, 2019, he didn't make the championship because he just switched from the Cavaliers to the Lakers, and there wasn't enough talent to make it to the championship. And then obviously he got injured before the playoffs even started. But every player has their time period. Every player has their moments where they are the greatest player in the league. You know what I mean? And also in the 2000s, you know, we got Stephen Curry, James Harden, Giannis, all competing against each other. You know, Kawhi, Paul George, they're all competing also against LeBron James to prove to everyone else that they are the best player in the league. Like, there is so much talent in the 2000s. It's insane how many great players there are now. But yeah, just to conclude, you should just measure greatness from where it's at. You shouldn't say one player is better than the other. You should just do it by time periods. Kobe was the best from the 90s and early 2000s. MJ was the best from the 80s to maybe the early 2000s, actually, because he retired with the Wizards. But Kobe was the best player in the early 2000s. Like, no one could compete with him. And then also the 90s as well, when I think he won his like first or second ring with Shaq. But yeah, Kobe was obviously the best player in the early 2000s, and then LeBron has been the best player in the late 2000s. Like, he has solidified himself for sure. But yeah, I really miss him, and It was a very sad day to watch Kobe's memorial, but I'm just glad that people could see the bright side of it and just talk about stories of him, man. That was very nice to see. And I remember this one video. Like, Kobe is such a great parent. He was such a great father, and I remember he was so happy when his Eagles won the championship. That just brought a smile on my face, man. Like, that was so happy. And I just miss those days. We all miss Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Obviously, it's been 1 year since of their passing, but I just wanted to bring you guys my thoughts of this whole situation. Obviously, Kobe Bryant isn't my favorite athlete in the league and all time, but he is definitely one of my favorites of all time. First, it's LeBron, then it's probably Michael, then it's Kobe for my favorites in the league, and then, Curry and some of the other ones as well. But yeah, man, the entire NBA world misses Kobe Bryant. We love you, we miss you. Mamba out. It's been your boy Electric Plays. Take care. Peace.